Hi, I'm Nicholas Wallwork, CEO of the Red Brick Group and owner of propertyforum.com. I want to talk to you today about property valuation methods. Now, if you're interested in learning more about property valuation methods, other than this video, which hopefully give you some insightful information today, go and check out my book, Investing in International Real Estate for Dummies, under the For Dummies, well-known For Dummies brand. Chapter 7 in there covers some valuation methods. So the important valuation methods that I want to talk to you through now, just in very basic terms, is the kind of comparable method and then the investment valuation method. The investment valuation method is the key one, which some of you may not have heard of. You may have heard of it, you may not know quite how to use it, but it is critical when you're dealing with slightly larger developments, maybe larger HMOs, and when you're getting more income from the building on a high income, high yielding asset. That's when you can start to turn to the investment valuation approach to get and extract more GDV and get more money out of your deal when you're refinancing it later down the line. So we're going to walk down the street now. We've picked a random street in Newbury. That's where our latest site is, and we'll end up there in a minute because that'll be key to discussing the investment valuation approach on a bigger unit. So before I do that, comparable approach. Comparable approach is very simple. It's what estate agents use when you ask them to come around to your house. What's my house worth? You say. They go, well, what did the three down the street value at in the last 2 years? They'll go on Rightmove, they'll go on Zoopla, they'll go on Land Registry, and they'll figure out the kind of prices that people have paid for a similar comparable property in your area. Now, if we look up, we're just passing a standard terrace houses here. They even have all blue doors. I'm going to venture out into the road and let this guy not run me over. But you can see here, 1, 2, 3 properties, all right next door to each other. And they are, as far as I can see, absolutely identical. Now, obviously, I'd go online, I'd speak to the vendors, I'd see if I could find any information about these. But if I was valuing number 6 here, I'd want to know what number 8 and number 10 sold for in the last few years, going on that Land Registry data. Now, of course, the internal specs important. Have they done any alterations? Have they got a garage? Is there any extra land with that particular building that differentiates it from the other sites? All of these things play into the hands of a valuer going, right, how do I value this? How do I, determine the true value of this property? Estate agent will do that on basic terms, but a good quality RICS surveyor, if you're getting a mortgage, they'll be doing that a bit more, in depth than an estate agent. The key is, I guess, valuation methods are there for a purpose. They're there to get finance mostly. They're there for you to understand what your building's worth, and they're there really to help you understand if a deal's viable or not. You may buy or sell, you might make or break a deal whether you buy it or take it on based on the valuation methods, but the comparable approach is not enough. When you start getting to bigger sites like Red Brick House behind me, we're going to go up there now to check that out. You'll see why the investment valuation approach is absolutely critical. Okay, as we walk up the street now, we've obviously seen these comparable properties here that we've been discussing, working on the kind of comparable valuation approach. Very basic, down to earth, kind of common sense approach at valuing properties. We're now arriving at Red Brick House, so I'll swing you around up here to have a look at the site. Bigger site, more income. More, how do you compare this building to another one? You can't, because there's not an identical one next door. There's not one potentially in the same street. There might not even be one in the same town or county. So how on earth do you value it? Well, if you've got enough income in it, you're likely to value it on that income, that value, that revenue that it's bringing in. Might also be from the parking income on top of all your rental. We've talked about parking in a previous video, so go and check out the the value of parking on a site and the GDV of the parking, how that can add to your site's value. So the investment value approach is very, very simple. You take the full income of the site, include all your parking income, include all your rental income, your gross rent. The value will then take a deduction off that for things like voids, maintenance, management, potentially stamp duty, because he's going to value it through the eyes of an incoming buyer, so it'll be taken off. A deduction could well be anything from 15 to 25% off the gross rent. So you take that gross rent down to your net rent with that deduction. The value will then apply a yield. The yield might be anything ranging from 6% maybe as a really strong yield, up to 7.5% for a not so good yield. Now that might be more southeast based. Further up north you go, I imagine, and also other areas that are slightly cheaper areas to buy property, the yield might go out even further. So applying that yield to your net rent, you would essentially apply, say, 6.5% yield to that price. That gives you your end value. So you divide the net rent by the yield. Very critical to learn how to do that. Check out chapter 7 of my book, Investing in International Real Estate for Dummies. That covers both valuation methods and another, which is the cost approach, which is used for valuing insurance jobs and rebuilds. That's completely different. You wouldn't be using that when you were analysing a site for GDV, seeing what you could get out of it, or indeed anything to do with the comparable approach. So the key to that investment approach is with all that income, you're going to get a really high valuation if you've got a big enough building. And I think, if you're talking, say, HMOs as an example, when you kind of go over about 4 to 5 rooms, the 6th, 7th, 8th rooms, as you go into the sui generis territory, over 6 rooms with HMOs, then the income far outweighs the bricks and mortar value. So if this end house over here, we're talking about the comparable approach, if this end house was just a 2 up, 2 down terrace property, it's going to be worth very much, what the other houses in the area are, or the 2 next to it. But if this was an HMO with an extension at the back and it had 8 rooms and they've got planning for a sui generis HMO to allow those 8 rooms, the income could be £30,000, £40,000 a year, and the investment valuation would probably double the value of that property. So it's absolutely critical to understand that investment evaluation approach, know how to apply it and when, and how you can add that extra GDV, much needed extra GDV, to add to your site, so you can go and make some more money, refinance more of your money out of the deal, and you'll be ready to take that money and go and do another deal. So I hope that's helped you today. Chapter 7, Investing in International Real Estate for Dummies. There will be a link around this video. Make sure you go and grab a copy, because the devil is in the detail with these valuation methods. They'll really help you extract extra value out of your deals. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, hit the bell icon, and start enjoying our content. I hope to see you again soon. Take care.